The Supreme Court of India has issued contempt notice to Patanjali Ayurveda and its managing director Acharya Balakrishna for disregarding the apex court's previous orders and persisting in spreading false and misleading claims about the efficacy of their products in curing diseases. Justices Hima Kohli and Ehsanuddin Amanullah temporarily prohibited Patanjali Ayurveda from advertising products intended to cure diseases specified in the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act 1954. The Supreme Court had also issued notices to Patanjali Ayurveda in August 2022 and in November 2023, warning of financial penalty of 1 crore rupees if misleading advertisements persisted. Senior advocate P.S. Patwalia, representing the Indian Medical Association, informed the top court that Ramdev, the founder of Patanjali, conducted a press conference a day after the SC hearing in November 2023, stating that treatment for blood pressure was a lie spread by allopathy. The case in the apex court was filed by the IMA, alleging that Patanjali Ayurveda and its founder engaged in a smear campaign against the COVID-19 vaccination drive and modern medicine. The court has now directed the central government to submit a response outlining the steps taken under the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act with respect to Patanjali's advertisements. Justice Amanullah criticized the government for not taking action for 2 years despite the Act's prohibition on misleading advertisements. However, Additional Solicitor General K.M. Nataraj, appearing for the centre, argued that it was up to the states to take action under the Act. So, where does the buck stop when regulating misleading advertising on drugs?
One looks at the Drugs and Magical Remedies Act, the way the Act has been structured. It is the local Food and Drugs Administration in each state that has been given the responsibility to regulate and enforce the provisions of the Act. So to your specific question, it is the local state government, or rather more particularly the Food and Drugs Administration, the FDA, that should be enforcing the Act.
The Drugs and Magic Remedies Act 1954 deals with the regulation of objectionable advertisements for 54 diseases that include common diseases such as diabetes, high or low blood pressure, heart diseases, among others. First-time violators, if convicted, could face a fine and a jail term of 6 months, while for subsequent violations, the jail term can be extended up to 1 year. However, experts maintain that the centre also bears some responsibility for regulation.
There is a second provision in the Drugs and Cosmetics Act. It's Rule 106, which basically has a similar prohibition like the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act, where they prohibit drugs from being advertised as being able to cure certain conditions. I think the list is smaller than the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act, but there is still a list. Now, under this rule, even the central government drug inspectors can institute prosecutions. It's a different thing that we rarely ever see them doing that, because these laws have been drafted so badly. Everyone just tends to enforce the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act, which is what the state drug inspectors do. So the short answer to your question is the central government could enforce this, could prosecute Patanjali under Rule 106 if Patanjali was advertising any of those conditions which are listed in Rule 106.
Ayurvedic medicines are under the purview of AYUSH ministry in India. Pharmaceutical experts say that AYUSH industry's promotion of herbal medicines has also been part of the problem.
This issue it's been in the news for a long time, and not just in context of Patanjali. The entire AYUSH industry has been making absurd claims for the last decade. So until 2012-14, these guys would basically market themselves as like the nutraceutical industry does. They would say that we are immunity boosting, we will improve your memory, we'll improve your strength. Around 10 years ago, some of them started changing their tack, where they started advertising for specific medical conditions, especially, for example, diabetes, hypertension, because this is where the money used to be made in a country like India. And the issue blew up then. It went to a parliamentary standing committee, took it up. They pushed the government. Then at that point in 2018, the Ministry of Health came out with a new rule. It's called Rule 170 in the drugs and cosmetics rules, where Rule 170 basically created like a approval system for all advertisements by the AYUSH industry. Now, that rule has never been enforced.
So, what's the solution to unsubstantiated claims made by firms in the Ayurveda, yoga and naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and homeopathy or the AYUSH industry?
I think if one has to look at, are there more misleading advertisements or not so honest advertisements over AYUSH products, then the answer to that is yes, absolutely. I think they are obviously trying to push through their sales. India is while India has always believed in Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, so therefore there is always takers for that form of medicine. So therefore, misleading advertisements are a good way to penetrate the market because they already have kind of a catchment consumer or prospective patients out there.
To regulate AYUSH drugs effectively, analysts argue that the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act of 1954 possesses adequate regulatory framework. However, the real issue lies in the enforcement capabilities of state governments. Currently, a gap persists in the implementation of the Act by state food and drug administrators. With careful regulation, false advertising can be significantly reduced, if not eradicated entirely.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
He's making plans for an early retirement. Business Standard.